Letter 26. On Abandonment as to Employments and Undertakings. To Sister Marie-Thérèse de Viominil. My dear sister, if you could but understand once and for all that everything that God wills must succeed, because he knows how to make even difficulties and the opposition of men conduce to the fulfillment of his designs. Believe me, if it be for your greater advantage, in vain will men try to prevent its success. But if, on the contrary, it will not be advantageous to you, what better can God do than to prevent it? Now God alone can look into the future and see all its consequences. As for us, we are poor blind creatures, who have to fear all sorts of danger, even in the events that appear to have the best promise of success. What better could we do than to place the whole matter in God's care? Could our future be more secure than in the all-powerful hands of that adorable Master, of that good and loving Father, who loves us more than we love ourselves? Where could we find a safer refuge than in the arms of Divine Providence? This is the blissful center in which our hearts should find their repose. Withdrawn from this, there is no solid peace, nor comfort, nothing but discomfort, anxiety, and bitterness of heart, miseries in the present life, and danger to eternal salvation. Letter 27. Acceptance of Duties. To Mother Marie-Anne Sophie de Rothenbourg, 1738, on Abandonment and the Acceptance of Duties. May the peace of Jesus Christ reign always in your heart, and may the most holy will of God be ever accomplished in and by you. I already knew of your election, Reverend Mother, and rejoiced at it at once in God, because I did not doubt that it would be pleasing to all the community, and for their spiritual profit. As long as you retain your present dispositions, your office, however calculated it may seem to relax your spirit, will not be at all injurious to you, for I remember to have read that our duties and employments do not hurt us so much as the eagerness, anxiety, and trouble that arise from the activity of our nature and the desire to succeed in everything before the world. The celebrated Monsieur de Renty said that it made no difference to him, nor did he experience any difficulty in keeping recollected whether he was at prayer in his oratory, or working, or in any occupation done for the love of God, or the good of his neighbor. We should be able to say the same if we were as detached as he, and as free from all self-seeking. You do not do well, therefore, in so strenuously opposing the office that Providence has allotted to you. God forgive you, but do not go on with it. To desire nothing, and to refuse nothing, was the maxim of St. Francis of Sales. I advise you to make it yours. Any fresh proof that you are likely to receive of the visible succor of heaven will render you without excuse if you do not ground yourself in an unreserved abandonment and an unlimited confidence. Sister N. has committed the same kind of fault, but she is less excusable, as she would not yield to the entreaties that were made to her. Please tell her how little edified I was at her conduct. The hope of being better able to preserve recollection has made her lose the occasion for practicing a host of virtues. If she had had the simplicity to submit, she would have practiced at the same time the virtues of obedience, charity, and zeal. I do not speak of abnegation, which she would also have practiced so excellently in overcoming her antipathy, and in giving her services so generously to the community in the duty that was offered her. Even the want of capacity that she believed she recognized in herself should have been a greater incentive to its acceptance, for the harm which might have resulted to the community through her incapacity was no business of hers, as she did not try in any way to obtain this office, and therefore it could have had no other result for her than merit. To how many little acts of humility, patience, and endurance of inconveniences and constraint, how much vigilance and charity would not this incapacity have given occasion for? But she had not the courage to face these sacrifices, and has given in to her self-love, while she imagined she was following the dictates of humility. At least let her humble herself profoundly before God. Let her learn to become very little in her own eyes, and omit nothing that could repair the disedification she has given her sisters. Letter 28. To will only what God wills. Everything that tends to lessen the strength of our passions, or to hold them in check, is a singular grace of God. Give yourself up, therefore, to the attraction which this holy repose has for you, and allow no free entrance either in your mind or heart to anything like desire, fear, hope, sadness, joy, or voluntary despondency, so that, in this way, the peace of God will dwell within you, and the less sensible it is, the more is it to be prized, as it can come only from God. When one does not interfere in anything that does not concern one, a delightful solitude can be found everywhere. However, those difficulties and importunities with which Divine Providence allows us to be afflicted are preferable to this solitude. It is true that the former condition is pleasanter and more consoling, but the latter being more painful, is also more meritorious when it is arranged by God without our own choice. From this I conclude that there are many ways that lead to God, but that each person should follow her own, without envying that of her neighbor. Not to will to be otherwise than God wills. In this is contained all present happiness, with the hope of eternal joy. Let us always distrust our eagerness, especially for good works. Let us put up patiently with what God puts up with, and after having done all that in reason we could do, or thought we ought to do according to the light God gave us, let us remain quiet and peaceful, abandoning ourselves in all things to His adorable will. Letter 29. To leave all to God. To the same person. Only God knows what is expedient for us. My dear sister, you say you wish to know the time of my return. To tell you the truth, I do not know myself, and do not wish to know. I give and abandon myself entirely to Divine Providence in everything, and for everything, from day to day. Do the same as far as you can. Nothing could be better. Oh, my dear sister, how much I desire you to taste the sweetness of this hidden manna, which to the true Israelite has the flavor of the most delicious food. Let us desire only God, and God will satisfy all our desires. Let us blindly abandon ourselves to His holy will in all things, and by doing so we shall be delivered from all our cares. We shall then find that, to advance in the ways of salvation and perfection, there is, after all, very little to do, and that it suffices without so much examination about the past, and reflection as to the future, to place our confidence in God at the present moment, and to regard Him as our good Father who is leading us by the hand. God forbid, then, that I should make any attempt whatever to throw light on the complete ignorance in which I am as to my destination. I much prefer to remain in this ignorance, abandoned to God, with no cares nor anxieties, like a little child reposing on the breast of a good and loving mother, willing only what God wills, and desiring nothing contrary to His wishes. In this happy state of abandonment I find peace and a complete rest for the heart and mind, and this protects me from 1,000 useless thoughts and from all uneasy desires and anxieties about the future. God has made me pass through many places, conditions, and duties, and in all of them were mingled so much that was good, and also so many hardships, that, had I to pass through them again, I should not be able of myself to make a choice. Only God knows what is expedient for us. He loves us more than we love ourselves. What better can we do, then, than to leave all to His will to choose for us? If we could but realize that the only great and important affair in this world is that of our eternal salvation. Provided we succeed in this, all will be well, and we need trouble about nothing else. Besides, if I sought my own pleasure, I do not see where I could find any better than to be like a bird on a branch, without any certainty about my stay. This uncertainty leads to a more complete abandonment, and this again forms my peace. It delivers me from the care of guiding myself, and gives me the assurance of arriving safely at my journey's end, supported by God, and following the steps of His Divine Providence. From whom else could I receive such a consoling assurance? There is no one capable of giving it to me, however perfect his friendship.